So, I said in my last book haul that I was missing one of the My Lady Janies. That was My Plain Jane. I went to the library because that was ready. And of course, I'm in the library. Can I walk out with just one book? No. So, we're going to do another book haul. Start out with, I got Blue Period, Volume 5. This is a manga that follows Yatora, and he is in his last year of high school, not entirely sure what he wants to do, and as you can tell by the cover, he does a piece of art and basically falls in love with art, and this kind of follows him. And yes, I read the first 4, obviously, and enjoyed them, so I saw that and got it. Then I got Strike the Zither. Now, I've heard about this quite a bit on Goodreads, and so basically, it is set in the year 414 of the Zin Dynasty. It says, Chaos abounds. A puppet empress is on the throne. The realm has fractured into 3 factions, and 3 warlordesses hoping to claim the continent for themselves. Zephyr knows it's no contest. Orphaned at a young age, Zephyr took control of her fate by becoming the best strategist of the land and serving under Zin Ren, a warlordess whose loyalty to the Empress is double-edged. While Ren's honor draws Zephyr to her cause, it also jeopardizes their survival. When Zephyr is forced to infiltrate an enemy camp to keep Ren's followers from being slaughtered, she encounters the enigmatic Crow, an opposing strategist who is finally her match. But there are more enemies than one, and not all of them are human. And so, from what I understand as well, basically, she plays the Zither, hence the title, Strike the Zither, and somehow this controls the demons. And then I've got Violet Made of Thorns, and I'd seen the cover, and that cover, just with the purple and the gold, I really liked it. So I saw it at the library, said I'll pick it up. And so basically this follows Violet, who is a prophet and a liar. She influences the royal court with her cleverly phrased, and not always true, divinations. Honesty is for suckers, like the oh-so-not-charming Prince Cirrus, who plans to strip Violet of her official role once he's crowned, unless Violet does something about it. So the king then asks her to falsely prophesy Cyrus's love story, and Violet awakens a dreaded curse. So, of course, this is another one that sounded really interesting. So I picked up that. And then my coworker gave me Wizard's First Rule and Blood of the Fold. These are both in the same series as The Pillars of Creation and Naked Empire. This is book 1, and this is book 3. As you can see, these are some very long books. I probably won't get into them until next year. But these sound very interesting. They're kind of sci-fi fantasy. They take place on a different planet, but it's a lot of swords and sorcery. Sorry, I can't get comfortable today. Then I got Beyond the Promised Neverland. So, if any of you have read or watched The Promised Neverland, this is basically several early works / short stories plus an epilogue to The Promised Neverland. So this has Poppy's Wish, Spirit Photographer Saburo Kono, We Were Born, DC3, Takashi and Poppy, and then Promised Neverland side story, Dreams Come True. So I'm definitely interested to read these. Now Spirit Photographer and DC3, as well as the whole of the original The Promised Neverland, are on the Shonen Jump app. So that's how I actually read the original series. Then I got A Court of Frost and Starlight, which is the novella in A Court of Thorns and Roses series. I have the first 3, and now this. I do not have the 4th book yet. Then I have The Fear, and this is basically a YA thriller. And this says, it's just a stupid meme that's going around their small fishing town in the dead of winter. People reposting and sharing their biggest fear. And so then it follows Izzy, and she sets out to figure out what's going on. Because as people are sharing their fear, they're dying. Not only are they dying, but they're dying in the way they said they feared the most. So then I went to Barnes & Noble's, and I got the Barnes & Noble Special Edition of Babel by R.F. Kuang. Of course, I read The Poppy War earlier this year, and this is about Robin Swift, who was orphaned in Canton, China, and was then brought to Oxford, I believe. Brought to London. Yes. Brought to London by the mysterious Professor Lovell. There, he enrolls in Oxford University's Royal Institute of Translation, also known as Babel. I believe this says Babel in Arcane History. I believe originally it was Babel or Babel or the Necessity of Violence, a history of the Oxford Translators' War. So R.F. Kuang is a pretty good writer. It would definitely be interesting to see what she does with the standalone. Then I got the newest volume of Zom 100, and that's volume 8. I believe I've talked about this before, and it is a series I really like, so I've been trying to keep up with it. Then I got a couple Penguin Classics, and that was The Grapes of Wrath and East of Eden, both by John Steinbeck. These are both on 1,000 books to read before you die, the Guardian list. So, of course, I've been trying to work on that, so I got them. Then I got Cervantes' Don Quixote. That one's also on it, and I've been reading some reviews. People said it's pretty funny, so I said, you know what, I'll get it, because I'd like to read a classic that's actually funny. And as you can see, that is a big book. Then the last one I got is an even bigger book, and that is The Count of Monte Cristo. This is another one I've heard a lot about. I've read a manga adaptation. I believe, it's been, referenced a lot. So it's another one I've been rather interested to read. But, yeah. So this is another nice long one. And it has pretty tiny print, so it'll definitely take me a while. But yes, that's what I have right now. I did just put a bunch of books on hold at the library, so I'm going to make another video after that and just kind of put everything together. So, yeah, I will see you probably next week. Hopefully all the books will be ready. It says I'm number 1 in all of them. They have them all. Nothing's checked out. Yeah, I kind of want to check all that and be like, ooh, because I really want to read these. But should I get them digitally? And it's like, I like having my physical books. And they were all, had at least one available copy. So yeah, I'll continue this when they come in. So as you can see behind me here, I have books that need a home. and yet I still went to the library. And actually, most of these books are library books. Everything, well, there's 5. This is my Sarah J. Maas collection that I want to read at some point. And it just kind of got put on that cart with all my library books. But anyways, I went to the library again. I know I said I had some more books on hold, and most of them came in. And so I got The Cruel Prince, and The Queen of Nothing came in. Unfortunately, The Wicked King and How the Prince of Elfame Learned to Hate stories are both still, well, the King one is checked out. The other one, it says, is in transit, but I'll be getting them later and starting on that. Then the other things I put on hold were a bunch of Michio Kaku books. He is a science writer, so I got Beyond Einstein. I got The God Equation, Physics of the Future, The Future of Humanity, and lastly, Physics of the Impossible. And I believe it was this book that I first saw by him, The Physics of the Impossible. And then I kind of read the synopsis of that, and it sounded interesting. Found some of his other books, and they sounded interesting. So for Physics of the Impossible, it says 100 years ago, scientists would have said that lasers, televisions, and the atomic bomb were beyond the realm of physical possibility. In Physics of the Impossible, the renowned physicist Michio Kaku explores to what extent the technologies and devices of science fiction that are deemed equally impossible today might well become commonplace in the future. From teleportation to telekinesis, Kaku uses the word of science fiction to explore the fundamentals and the limits of the laws of physics as we know them today. He ranks the impossible technologies by category 1, 2, and 3, depending on when they might be achieved within the next century, millennia, or perhaps never. So yeah, this one sounded really interesting. Again, I'm really interested in science, and I like science fiction, so that was kind of like a perfect intersection. Then The Future of Humanity, Terraforming Mars, Interstellar Travel, Immortality, and Our Destiny Beyond Earth. And that just sounded really interesting as well. And of course, he explores in rich, intimate detail a compelling vision of how humanity may develop a sustainable civilization in outer space. Then Physics of the Future is how science will shape human destiny and our daily lives by the year 2100. So this is almost a companion to Physics of the Impossible, and this dives more into what might be possible in the next century. Then The God Equation, I believe this was written around the time when they were looking for the God particle, if I remember correctly. Okay, now he is... Perhaps the ultimate challenge is achieving a synthesis of relativity and quantum theory. Okay, so that sounds even more interesting now. And then Beyond Einstein is about superstrings theory, which I don't know a whole lot about it, so I'm definitely interested in this. And then as for the Folk of the Air series, I've been hearing about that a lot. I do vaguely remember reading part of Holly Black's Tithe and enjoying that little bit that I read, so I wanted to read more of her. Then this I haven't gotten recently, but Crying in H Mart. My library has a summer reading program this year over the 90 days of summer, I believe is what they gave you. If you read 75 days of summer, if you read, it was 25 or 25, you got a prize, which was a book. And I chose Crying in H Mart. Again, it was something I'd heard a lot around then, and I do enjoy the kind of, discovering yourself, learning about your culture, and obviously this is also based in the loss of her mother. And, I lost my mother at a young age, so I kind of relate to that. And so I picked this as my book, and hopefully I will be reading it soon. And then I do have a few more books that I want to show you, but I have to get them. Alright, I made it into the library, my library, with the stack of books, and I didn't drop any. Hooray! So, another book I got is Soyuz, The Final Flight by Harry A. Millman. And this is about a toxicologist who is on the International Space Station. And he is there when Soyuz docks. And what happens is one of the passengers gets sick, and because Derek Johnson, the main character, is a toxicologist, he is the one who kind of investigates it. And this sounded pretty interesting. And the author was actually in Barnes & Noble's the day I got it, and he actually signed it. And what's also pretty cool is that he is a toxicologist himself, so it sounds like there should be a lot of solid science in this. And so I'm definitely excited to get into that. Then, around the same time, I got Daughter of Smoke and Bone series, and I believe this is the 10-year anniversary. I'm not entirely positive, but I do believe this is the cover for the 10-year anniversary. So, of course, I got Daughter of Smoke and Bone. Then I got Days of Blood and Starlight. And, of course, the last book, Dreams of Gods and Monsters. I kind of like how the covers are neon. I do like, bright colors like that. And, again, this was a series I had heard a lot about. I read quite a bit about it on Goodreads. The synopsis sounded good, and I just hadn't picked it up yet, so I picked it up then. And then I got Fable and Namesake. I love how they go together like that. I didn't realize that. This was Reese's YA Book Club at one point. And again, you're just hearing about, it's about pirates. I was like, okay, that sounds good. I'll pick it up. If you can't tell, that's how I get a lot of my books. Then this was a present for my birthday this year. And this is the Cursebreakers trilogy, which is A Curse So Dark and Lovely, A Heart So Fierce and Broken, and A Vow So Bold and Deadly. So my friends all know I'm into books. So this particular friend that I work with, she will usually send me a list of anywhere from 10 to 20 books and be like, do you have any of these? Do any of them sound good? And at that point, I think this was the only one that she sent me that I didn't have. So, yeah, the choice was kind of made for her. Then another coworker lent me Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun. I don't know a whole lot about this, although I did flip through the first book. Yeah, and obviously it's just all 4-panel comics. I do believe it's supposed to be a comedy. And apparently Nozaki-kun, who I'm assuming is him, he is a manga artist, and he recruits Chiyo Sakura, who has a crush on him. He recruits her to help draw his manga. And you kind of see the little manga page there. And I kind of really like his art style that he would draw in. So she gave me the first 10 books to read. And she has said that she's going to loan me her whole manga library. She said, so be prepared. I'm just going to, throw them all at you. And I said, that's fine. I said, however, you will not get them back until I read them. And we've known each other for 7 years. So, she has some of my manga. Now I have some of hers. And we both enjoy it, so we like to swap. And yeah, so that is the rest of my book haul. And I hope you enjoyed it. And hopefully I will get to a lot of these books very soon. Obviously, I'm going to be working on the library books first. And then I will start working on Nozaki-kun, since this was a loan from a friend. And then I'll kind of work my way through everything else. And I'm sure I'll probably get a lot of squirrel books, as I call them, along the way. But yeah, you enjoy the ride with me, and I will see you back in the book cave for December wrap-up.